this time.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Lunchin with Lisa. I was about to say, I don't remember what date it is, but I do. It's February the 4th. And I'm excited about this month because I consider February Love Month. And what I did was decide that the theme for this month was going to be all about love. So tonight we're going to talk about self-love with our wonderful guests. But before we get started, I wanted to do a few shout outs to some people and then share some events that are going on this month, because this is a big month. We're actually celebrating Black History Month. Like I said, I think it's the love month because Valentine's Day falls within this month. So this week we're going to be talking about self-love. Next week we're going to talk about romantic love. So we'll have a guest on and maybe give you some ideas of what to do for Valentine's Day. And then we're going to talk about family love the following week and then community love to end the month. So the theme question that I kind of put out there was, what's love got to do with it? Nothing or everything. And we're going to talk about it. But before we do that, I wanted to remind you all that the Unleash Your Superpower, which is the very first book that I published under my publishing company. I have a special out there right now, and I'll show you the book, but this book is being offered out on Amazon for download for just $1.99 until February the 7th. So please take advantage of that. Go out there and get your downloaded copy. It's only $1.99. You can't beat that. So I want to remind you of that. And like I said, February 7th is the end of the special, so get your copy. I have 2 conferences going on in February, so I wanted to give you all a heads up on what's going on, and I'm hoping that the ladies who actually are part of those conferences will be in the chat and they can give you more information. Yes, I see Sharon's on the line. So on February 20th, I will join Sharon and moderate her 8th annual, it's Rosa's 8th annual Leading Within conference, and it's a Black History Global experience, and it's a call to speakers, authors, sponsors, and vendors to join in the legacy building, along with Sharon, who is the president of Rosa Inc. And at this, this is kind of the first time Sharon's had this Leading Within conference, and it's actually during Black History Month. So it's the 8th annual one, but the very first time that it's being held during Black History Month. So this is a global conference, and it's she's so excited to connect all professionals in all industries with others who are building true connections, what we call, or Sharon actually calls, because we call her the true synergist. Synergy is her word. So what we're doing is bringing professionals together to stay connected and to show the world how we are synergized. So we want you to claim your virtual voice and share your story. Spaces are going fast, so please visit. I think she has a link. I'm going to ask Sharon to put that in the chat so people can go and grab their seat so they can be in there. We actually have a special guest. We're going to have a virtual selfie with legendary Tony Award winning Melba Moore. So she will be there. You want your seat at the table to be with Melba Moore. That's going to be so exciting. And then we have some other things. She wants you to get your black and white signature image created to support. So once you're registered, they'll give you the details on how you can join the room. Again, this conference is on February 20th, 11 to 5 p.m. and host is Sharon Parker, president of Rosa Inc. And you can find her at ccparker123@aol.com, and her website is www.themakingofyou.com. So please, Sharon, if you can put that information in the chat and share with the ladies, I appreciate it. That's on February the 20th. And then I wanted to share with you on February 27th, I am also going to be a part of a conference called Favor is Fair. And the visionary host is going to be the wonderful Victoria Hammond. She is going to be sponsored. I think it's 11 ladies, but this is going to be a powerful conference on February 27th. So we definitely want you to visit Eventbrite and get your seat at the table. That's going to be wonderful. In addition to that, tomorrow, you all know I have my own online magazine called Dove Style Magazine, and we have our first DSM exclusive interview with comedian DJ Pryor, and our own contributing writer Michelle Bolden Hammond is going to. Well, Victoria Holland is doing the February 27th. I'm getting my names mixed up. Victoria Holland is the conference favors fair, and Michelle Bolden Hammond is actually going to be interviewing DJ Pryor on our DSM exclusive interview tomorrow at 5 p.m. So please tune in. We'll be streaming on Facebook and YouTube, so we hope to see you there. So I just wanted to give you a few pointers before we go into introducing our guest. One more thing we're going to do is my sister, and this is Black History Month, and she is a Black girl who rocks. I wanted to share with you that she has made an announcement today that she will be running for an office. So I wanted to share a little video with you. Shariva, can you show that for us? But I wanted to congratulate my sister. She made her announcement today. So congratulations to my sister, Erica Dub. I'm so proud of her. She probably sitting over there saying, oh my God, no, she didn't. But yes, I did. So I'm so happy for her. She put that out there and I told her I was going to go ham with it. So I'm so proud of her. And it was perfect because this is my first day and first show in February of the Love Month. And I love my sister and she's doing big things. So I said, let's go for it. So I want to introduce our guest to you, because we're going to get into a conversation about some self-love and all that good stuff. So I want to introduce you to Caressa. Caressa is the owner of the Caressa J Agency, a visual marketing, media, and management company that specializes in event planning plus production, brand identity, and media coverage. A fresh voice in the world of women's empowerment. Speaker and business coach Caressa J is masterful at engaging audiences with her transparency and captivating personal story of life, love, and loss. She brings her full breadth of experience to the stage, everything she's learned as a counselor, coach, and everyday woman. As a media contributor, Caressa's refreshingly relatable insight in personal growth and development and entrepreneurship has graced the pages of national renowned publications and digital media platforms such as Jet Magazine, Black Enterprise, The Huff Post, Woman of Excellence Magazine, and Madame Noir, and more. Welcome to Lunchin with Lisa, Caressa J. Welcome.
Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. I'm glad to have you back. I know you've been on a previous show with me and we enjoyed your visit. So I was like, let me get Caressa back in here. I know you're a busy woman, but I thought you would be a nice person to talk to about stuff, because you really do with what you do in business. And just generally speaking, you're well-rounded in self-care. And what I feel like is that I wanted to start off with self-care first, because we got to take care of us before we can take care of anybody else. So tell me a little bit about what you do and the area of self-care. What are some things that you do for self-care?
Yeah, so again, I'm the CEO of the Caressa J Agency. It's the #1 premier luxury concierge branding company in the DMV area.
Yes.
We're in the DMV as well as in Raleigh, North Carolina, which I'm super excited about. So we do everything from brand identity, your graphics, video production, website, logo, everything you can think of. It's literally a one-stop shop. You come to me, you just show up one time and we get everything done for you. So love the agency. You could find out more on caressaj.com, as well as, on social media. When it comes to self-care, like I can even say this week, I got a massage, I got a facial. Those are things that people normally think about typically with self-care, like how are you
Right.
pampering yourself? But self-care to me is really self-development,
Mm-hmm.
because how you take care of yourself and what you allow in your life really will explain or show you how much self-care you really, really have.
That's
Like saying no, right? That's a
right.
way of
That's a big
self-care.
one.
And a lot of us don't say no. And so we end up doing things that we don't have the capacity to do and with capacity to fulfill. We end up going places, speaking to people, not having, our set bedtime. There's all types of things that really damper our own self-care. So self-development is really, really important. Having boundaries, right? Boundaries teach people how to behave in your life.
That's true.
Boundaries teach people how to behave in your life. And so once you create boundaries in certain areas of your life, then people will respect that and they will respond to that. And so a lot of times when we're complaining about certain things and people, it's because we haven't set boundaries. And so people can do whatever they want to do, right?
That's
And then
so
we
true.
wonder why people behave any kind of way. They said this to me, they did this, they expect X, Y, Z. And it's like, but you didn't put any boundaries there to teach them how to behave.
So we teach people, and that's right, because we do teach people how to treat us, not knowing that if we say yes all the time, then people expect a yes all the time. So when you say no, all of a sudden they're not prepared.
Yeah.
I'm guilty of that as well. But I think what happens is we're kind of avoiding that moment when we first do say no, and we get that pushback, and we're not ready for the pushback. So we
Yeah.
got to be ready for it.
Yes, absolutely. So yeah, I say self-care to me is really self-development because any of us can get a pedicure, manicure, we can go get our face beat, we can do a lot of things that make us feel good in the moment. But really self-care is way deeper than just those physical attributes that we do for ourselves, and just those moments that don't last long, right? After your
Well,
hour, 2 hours.
you need that with what you do and branding with people. I'm
Mhm.
thinking that, self-development is huge because with branding, people have to know, they have to know who they are before they can brand themselves.
Absolute brand identity. That's what it's all about. Like, who are you? What do you like? Who do you serve? Why do you serve them? It's all about purpose. It goes right back to yourself. And that's honestly the reason I even have the branding agency, because to me, it's all about purpose. I'm helping you find out who you are, who you want to serve so that you can better than serve people and fulfill
Mhm.
the purpose for your life. That's what it's all about. So yeah.
Well, okay, so with your clients or just in general, what have you found is a really difficult or stumbling block for people? I know even in my business of I have my own publishing company now, but I noticed that, and I share the same issue. But if somebody doesn't like, I don't feel comfortable writing about myself.
Yeah.
As soon as somebody tells you to write a bio, you just kind of like, what? I don't know what to say, because you're in that, you're kind of balancing. You don't want to be showing off, or you don't want to this, and you don't want to claim what you're not doing. But I mean, that's all part of the process. I know that's the hardest part for me. So what do you run into with some of your clients?
So a lot of times it's about comparison, and a lot of people worry about what someone is saying or thinking, or what
Mhm.
someone is not doing. Like they didn't heart, they didn't share. But believe it or not, you inspire people who pretend not to see you.
Wow. Wow.
You inspire people who pretend not to see you. So that's how you can have 1,000 followers and 5 likes, right? Because 100, 200 people, they say, right? The ratio, they saw you, they just pretend not to. So, or they're for whatever reason. So I say, really think about purpose, what you're doing it for, who you're doing it for. Make sure you're serving that person. It doesn't matter. A lot of times when you start your following, you have a lot of family, you have a lot of friends, people you work with, people you went to school with. You have to be consistent so that you can reach your audience. All those people might not necessarily be your audience. So
Right.
the more you continue and you're consistent, then your audience will find you. If you're focused on who's pretending not to see, your family, friends, people who like you, don't like you, whatever, you'll never fulfill the promises of your life. You'll never fulfill
True.
destiny. You'll never, pursue the purpose that God has for you, no matter what, because you're so focused on who's liking, who's sharing, who's saving your posts. And that's very dangerous because
Yeah.
you were created and born for a reason, and your business is called to serve people. And
Mhm.
if you're not consistent, and if we if we settle for things that don't matter, we'll never fulfill what it is that we're supposed to fulfill. I always tell people purpose over perfect. And that's something I struggled with for a very long time until I realized, like, oh, if I wait for perfection, I'll never fulfill purpose.
That's true.
And so really self-love, like I said, with self-development is really just the mindset work and really figuring out who you are so that no matter what is happening around you, that stuff don't matter. They don't pay your bills, you know what I mean? They don't serve who you are supposed to serve. And purpose to me also is, how can you intentionally impact somebody's life when they cross your path? So you have to be doing something so that somebody can cross your path, so that you can feel the purpose for them, so that you have to say, you'll say something or do something in that moment that you communicate with them that can change the trajectory of their life. And so you have to do the work. You have to heal. You
That's
have to work on yourself so that you can not worry about what's around you, so that you can feel a purpose, because somebody is waiting on you. And so when you think about that, you be like, you know what? I'm gonna launch without the website. You know what? My picture doesn't have to be perfect, because I'm going to meet somebody on this journey that is waiting on me. And if they don't meet me, like, you know what I mean? I believe in, I say earthly angels. I tell my friends all the time, y'all are my earthly angels. Like, God will send people to your life at the gas station, at Target, while you're, selling whatever on the street. You know what I mean? When you're emailing that person, telling them to come on and sign on to your business, like, all of that is a part of purpose. And if you don't do it, somebody might be missing something. You have that perfect word, that perfect testimony, that perfect thing, that perfect quote, whatever it is that's going to help somebody keep going, right?
That's true. That's true. Because what I think I had a conversation with somebody previously and just said, when people get discouraged, and you just get tired, or you're thinking, oh, nobody's listening, and then somebody comes out the woodwork that you don't even know. And I will say, the moment that I had this little giddy feeling was when I had my Power Shut Up book, and someone was talking about it on a thread, and they tagged me. And then someone who I didn't even know said, oh, I've heard about that book. And I was like, what? And that was a moment when I was just like, oh, I don't know her. I don't know anything. And it just made me feel kind of good, like, because it is about the message. And that's what I've always said too. So even with the magazine, I said, well, you know what? If only one person reads this magazine, if that's the one person that was sent to read it. So I have to be good with that. You know what I'm saying?
And sometimes it takes people 6 or 7 times to see it before they click. Think about all the ads we see. Think about all the people we follow. I have like a lot of women in business that I'm very close with. And we say, oh, did you see this? Did you hear about this? And it's like, we might have seen it or heard about it 6, 7 times before we actually go and invest in that mastermind or that online course or buy that t-shirt. Sometimes you're just busy. Sometimes you're driving. Sometimes you just got a lot on your mind. Maybe somebody couldn't afford it that day. So if you don't keep going, you're going to miss out on an opportunity, because people have things going on. So yes, continue going, because that one person, that something on it will change their life. Right now everybody's talking about leveling up and just like doing all these things to like inspire people. And the level up is about improving, not impressing.
I like that. I like that.
So when you realize that, you're like, oh, okay, self-development, self-care. I'm improving myself. I'm being consistent. I'm doing what it is that I have to do. I'm healing. Self-care is healing.
Yes.
We can do everything we can to make ourselves look cute. But if we are crazy and chaotic and in crisis at all times, that cuteness only lasts for 5 minutes. And so healing is a part of self-care and self-love, and so self-development. And so that's what I've learned in teaching.
With COVID, I can speak directly to that, because it's like, you see everybody and they look good on the screen, but I'm trying to tell you, I was a hot mess, inside from what was going on. But the only way I could get through that was to be transparent. And, if I was nervous or I was scared, just say that. And that goes to what you said about being perfect. And I think a lot of times we're trying to present ourselves as if there's never anything wrong. And don't get me wrong, I'm not saying go spill all your business and all that kind of stuff. But sometimes if I say something, even with my book, I say, hey, I was going through some things with my marriage and I wasn't, I wasn't making myself clear. I was getting frustrated. But I don't mind sharing that because that's real life. It happens. Everybody
Right.
is not like cheesing all the time. Okay.
Mhm.
That would be unnatural for me. I'm like, if you're smiling all the time, I'm thinking you need some self-care because you're not dealing with something. But I mean, and loving yourself is so important because it's like if you don't love yourself, then what you're putting out there is not it's not sincere. It's not.
Mhm. And that's why storytelling is so great with social media, because even though you might have great, like say you invested in branding and you have amazing photos and video and stuff like that, when you're storytelling under your posts and your captions and everything, you're telling them and sharing them things about you, who you are, what you do, what you like, who you serve, and that helps you connect with your audience. So that's important too when we're talking about the business aspect of it. And then with self-care, and self-development, the standards you set in your life determine the standards you set determine the life you get right now
Mm,
and in your future. So when we start setting standards in our life, that will change the trajectory of what's going on around us as well. And so a lot of times we just don't have no standards for ourselves. We don't have standards for anything. Like we talk about boundaries and stuff. And these are the little subtle things we can do, even to have good what they call work-life balance. I don't believe in like work-life balance. Um,
okay.
that sometimes you have a heavier load for this one day, and then sometimes you have to manage this, another day. But you can still be sane in it all.
Right, right.
And and so I think standards will determine the life that you get even right now. So that's super good too. That's something that I live by.
Absolutely, because I just feel like when I'm centered inside, when home is good and I keep my mind on those that I love and care about, then everything seems to fall into place. But when I do it the opposite way, things get off balance really quickly. And then you feel like you're faking it through because
Yes.
deep down inside, I'm mad at this. But when you good with wherever you are before you do all those things, it's
Mhm.
all just authentic and natural. And something like I told somebody about even going live, like kind of when you record things. I said, well, I don't mind live because sometimes you stumble on your words or you do whatever. And I said now it's to a comfortable place where it's like, okay, well, I didn't say that right, or my words are falling out right now, and just pick it up and keep going. But to me, that's more I don't know, that's more real to me. I
Yeah.
like to see, the real person. You can tell sometimes when people are really just okay with where they are and know that they're not perfect and all of that, and they good with it. I'm just like, okay, whatever, let's roll. But that's why I think self-love is so important and actually the first step. Because I know it's cliche, but if you don't love yourself, then how do you love anybody else? I mean,
Mhm.
that goes for your kids, for your spouse, for your friends. You'll just be angry all the time if you don't take care of you.
Yeah,
Um,
it does fall over into your business. If you are upset, if you
yes.
are anxious, if you're worried, if you're stressed out, that will fall over your business. You won't be able to accomplish much. And so that's why self-care is so important too, because what you don't do at home or behind closed doors will fall over into your business. I tell people you're a public success, but a private mess, right? You're
Mm.
with private stress. And so that will really impact your business. And so you want to deal with those stressors so that you can continue to function at the level that you need to handle the capacity of the work that you're called to do, to serve the people that you're called to.
Now you said say that again. You because that's a hashtag right there.
Say,
A private, a public. You said
public success, but a private
a
mess.
public success, but a private mess. And that's
Mhm.
probably a whole lot of people out there. But every now and then we need our toes stepped on to remind us, to shake us up a little bit and say,
Yeah.
look, you don't have to try so hard to show everybody that I've never been good at that anyway, because I don't wear it well on my face anyway. It's like
All right, I'm having a
smile
day.
ain't there, just ain't there. But I try to do my best. But no, I so know the importance of self-love. And I know sometimes we get distracted. And especially I think we talked a little bit about in the middle of COVID, it can get really rough out here. And especially now with all this going on in the world, it's kind of easy to kind of question where you are, or, because people aren't good, for other reasons besides the normal. It's kind
Mhm.
of like now it's compounded. So all those things that you weren't good with, now you putting COVID on top of that. You got to be stuck in the house with people that you can't get a break from. It's all kinds of things going on. So you got to learn. Well, what I said was, and this goes to self-love too, is that I think a lot of people had problems with COVID because when you home and you got to stay in the house, you have to actually get to know you.
Mhm.
Now I got to be in the house with myself,
Mhm.
long as I'm going out there around other people, I ain't got to deal with me. But when you stuck in the house, it's like, okay, do I like me? Because maybe I know why these people are like,
Right.
here she, here she come.
Who you really are. Uh-huh.
Yeah, but it gave us a moment to work on those things and fix those things and be okay with our imperfections. And to me, that's self-love, to be okay with what you're not good at, what don't do so well.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So I wanted to before we go any further, we're gonna talk a little bit more, but we're gonna have like a little Black history moment. And this was actually inspired by Sharon Parker. She's on the line. She's having the event on February 20th, but she is all about synergy and our history, especially our Black history. So in honor of Sharon, I actually decided every Thursday for the month of February on Lunchin with Lisa, we would do a Black history moment. So I took a stab at this. She'll see why I picked who I picked when I show it. But let's just take a moment and have a Black history moment.
Were built, many that still exist in Ruleville today. And if you visited Ruleville, you'll also find out that her tombstone reads, in 1964, Fannie Lou Hamer helped organize Freedom Summer, which brought hundreds of college students, black and white, to help with African American voter registration in the segregated South. She announced her candidacy for the Mississippi House of Representatives in 1964, but was barred from the ballot. A year later, Hammer, Victoria Gray, and Annie Devine became the first Black women to stand in the U.S. Congress when they unsuccessfully protested the Mississippi House election of 1964. She also traveled extensively, giving powerful speeches on behalf of civil rights. In 1971, Hammer helped to found the National Women's Political Caucus. She even single-handedly ensured that 200 units of low-income housing were built, many that still exist in Ruleville today. And if you visited Ruleville, you'll also find out that her tombstone reads the saying that she's most famous for, which is, she's sick and tired of being sick and tired. Now, I know you all have heard that before, but when you think of that saying now, know where it came from because it's important to know your history. It started with Fannie Lou Hamer. This is a Black History moment from the Luncheon with Lisa show.
Thank y'all so much for that, Sharon. It's all your fault. Let me see. Am I muted? Okay, I'm unmuted. And I will give you a little background before we continue. When I had my first speaking engagement, it was with Sharon's her very first annual Leading Within. It was Unconditional Love Conference at that time, and she gave me the opportunity to be a speaker, and I had never spoken at any event ever. So I was always been grateful for her for trusting me and giving me that shot because I was nervous um, as I could be. But we had to pick someone in history that we kind of resonated with. And Fannie Lou Hamer was the person I picked, what, 8 years ago. So she was the first person that entered my mind and wanted to do the very first Black History Month. So that was for you, Sharon. So to next week, I don't know who we're gonna pick, but we're gonna have a moment every Thursday this month. So that was our little moment. And we'll have some commercials later on. But Caressa, I wanted to get back to talking about. So what do you do? I know you mentioned a little bit about with your what we talk about brand identity.
Mhm.
You talk about personal development, but tell us a little bit about what you do with your customers. I've seen some of your things on Facebook, and oh, I just love it, love it, love it. So tell us a little bit about it.
Yeah, so with my clients, I basically, again, like, it's one-stop shop. They come, they get served. It's really luxury concierge, meaning I take care of everything for them, but they also get pampered while they come. So meaning like when they fly in town, a lot of my clients fly from out of town in DC. So I make sure like they get picked up, taken where they need to go, handle their
Okay.
arrangements, identify their photographer, their videographer, their venue spot. Like literally you just show up and you don't have to worry about anything. And then I talk to them, like you said, about the mindset work and everything consistently throughout for several weeks that I'm working with them. Every week we're going over the mindset stuff because they're like, hey, I don't know what to post. What about my captions? You start realizing like I have a lot of personal development things that you need to work through with your comment, with your open. You don't realize until you're starting a business like, hey, I got some stuff I need to work on, right?
Yes.
And so we talk about those things. We do a lot of brand strategy, and then we go into even how they pose, how they take their photos, how they speak, how they interact with others online. Are they fulfilling purpose? Is it just a hobby or a gig? Do they really want to do this full time? Like all of those things, we kind of get to the nitty gritty about it. And then I teach them like a lot of the things that I live by. Like I tell them, live by faith, not by your frustrations.
Mm,
Yeah, live by faith, not by your frustrations. Because if you live by your frustrations, oh my gosh, I have to tell myself every single day.
right.
Especially when you're not working a 9 to 5. I don't work a 9 to 5. So when you're all in, you're like, oh my gosh, I'm frustrated. I'm frustrated with, just I gotta pay my bills. I gotta, maintain. I have to market every day. I have to push. I
It's
still
a
have,
lot. Yeah.
yeah, it's a lot. So you're trying to figure all those things out and still keep going. But when you live by faith and not your frustrations, I mean, it takes the stressor off like none other. When I first got into entrepreneurship, I literally bought a bottle of mustard seeds because I remember the scripture where it says like just have just this much is one. So I was like, okay,
That's right.
this much faith. And literally I remember saying to God one day, like, I literally only have this much faith. I need you to help me get out of this situation.
I love it.
Ever since then, so I would say if you need to buy you a bottle of mustard seeds from the grocery store, do
That's
that.
a great idea.
Yeah, as I'm telling you, that it literally impacted me. Like that was one of the most greatest. I don't even say it's an affirmation, but something that I just did that activated like faith in me. Because in business, you need faith. You need faith that the money's going to come in. You need faith that you're going to get clients. You need faith. Like you can't trust in nobody else. People get so frustrated about who's sharing their stuff or who's promoting them. You are that's all you. Whether anybody else is sharing your flyer or not, it's all you. And so, with that mustard seed faith, it really will help and transform your business and your mindset. And then, a lot of times we're on business, I say, hey, now that you're on social media, this is your business. So
Mm,
you have to be mindful too about what you're putting out there. You could be very transparent and authentic, right? But still, what are your convictions? Your convictions determine your conduct.
mm.
So you can
That's
say
true. That's
I'm
true.
all this and I'm all that, but if you're not convicted by something, your conduct is going to be all over the place, and it's going to show. You know. So those are just things I tell them that I live by. Like, what are affirmations that can keep you going, keep you pushing, keep you persevering? Even the quote I put on a t-shirt, "I am enough." I had to tell myself, "Oh, I'm
Yeah.
enough. I am enough. I am enough." You know what I mean? Like you have to remind yourself of that every single day in all types of relationships, right? Whether it's professional relationships, with friends, when you're
Really
dating,
true.
that like you're
Really true.
enough because there will be so many things that really will trigger you, and you're like, oh my god, you're gonna say, do you remember who my friends? Do you remember who you are? Do you know where? Do you know
I
anybody?
like that though. I like that.
Like, who are you? Wake up, right? Like, why are you acting like this is not who you are? Like, you're acting beneath who you are. And so sometimes, even in business, a person will tell me, like, hey, you must have forgot, or you have no clue of who you are. Because if you knew who you are, you wouldn't be tripping over this little stuff right here. Or you wouldn't allow yourself to be overwhelmed over these things. Like, there is purpose you have to fulfill. Let this small stuff go.
I like that. I like the reminder. I mean, even just something as simple as saying, you, do you know who you are? Because that's enough to kind of jolt you like, okay, wait a minute. Okay, wait a minute. Let me
Mhm.
stop tripping. I love that. I'm gonna have to look every now. I'm gonna have to remember that. That's gonna stick in my head now. And I am enough. I saw the T-shirt, and I think you had another one that had another saying because I am
perfect. Yeah.
yes, I am a fan of affirmations. When I've gone through even some health issues and had to start to regain and trust my body to do some things, I had to really literally talk to myself about who I was and even make posts. I would on Facebook, I would, before I got started with anything else I posted, I would post some affirmation, just kind of declaring what my day was going to be like. And that kind of goes into with my book, The Power Shut Up. That was part of it because our words and what we tell. One of the shows I did, we were talking about words, and I say, look, when you're talking to you, even if you don't say it out loud, you're the first person that hears what you're saying.
Yeah.
What you thinking besides the man upstairs. So if you saying I can't or I don't know, that's what you already taken in. So we got to be careful with what we say to ourselves, because we will believe ourselves. And if you don't take a good day, you won't have one.
My cousin had got healed from cancer, and when we were talking and things like that, I don't know if she said it or I said it, but we were talking about something, and we basically came to the clue like your mind arrives at a destination before your body does.
That's true.
Your mind will get there before. So if you could just
very
talk
quickly
to yourself and get yourself there, your body will follow. Even when I go to the gym the other day, I literally had to start talking to myself because I didn't feel like being there. And like I'll say, okay, you can do this. You can get through. I know it hurts. I know it's painful. But if you can just speak to yourself and speak to your mind, your body will follow. You have to command your body to align with your mindset. That's why what you feed your mind is so important. What we listen to on social media. If you're trying to start a business, you can't be on Shade Room all day. If you want to start a business, you have to listen to motivation. You have to listen to faith. You have to listen to encouragement. You have to listen to things that are really going to build you up because your mind is going to get to that $1 million before your body gets there. Before
absolutely. That's powerful right there.
Yeah. Like every day, like you have to speak to your mind. Everything you read, everything you share, everything that you reach, like all of those things are in your head. It will impact you.
You know what? It's making me laugh because now I don't feel so crazy because I know I need to be doing some exercise. I need to be exercising. I kept saying, why can't I get to this? I won't do it. I won't get up and do it. And the last couple of days while I'm downstairs doing something, I'll just start moving. But I'm like talking out loud saying, okay, you got to do this. You got to. And I kept saying, okay, Lisa, I'm glad nobody is watching because they will think you're a little crazy. But I had to talk myself into it. Because as long as I wasn't saying anything, I wasn't moving. It was only because I was talking about it. I love that.
And
oh, wow.
You have to make action because I like working from the bed. And my friend was like, oh, you can't work from your bed no more. You have to sit up and go to the countertop and do some work. Because sometimes we'll become lazy and that will get us, we'll fall asleep quick. We won't be productive. And that's self-care too. Well, how can I increase my productivity?
Yes.
I literally, we say, okay, we have planners, we have journals, with things like that. But in order to be productive, you have to plan. Sometimes you can just be in the moment, but you have to really set some order to yourself and to your life.
That's true.
Okay, hey, like you can go to somebody's house and basically with everything being chaotic, it shows where your mind is at.
That's true.
You start to arrange and do some things around you, your atmosphere will be a product of it.
Wow.
You even go to your car and you like, it's just that bad. What's on your mind? Because if your atmosphere changes, that's going to change how you handle things and how you overcome things and how you even just experience stuff. Your business, your entrepreneurial journey, your entrepreneurial experience will even change when you adjust and change your atmosphere.
That's true. That's very true. That's some powerful stuff right there. But I mean, this kind of stuff, when it comes to self-love and self-care, this is something that we should be doing on a daily basis, no matter what's going on. I mean, before you get to the romantic, before you get to the community and the family or whatever, even with family, you got to take care of you first before you can deal with whatever, because everybody got their own stuff, you know what I'm saying? So if you ain't dealt with your stuff, you're gonna take on their stuff and they're gonna take on your stuff. You gotta keep your stuff to yourself, so fix it. So when people come crazy, you already like, it's all right, I'm good.
People are always like in progress, but I even tell people like, you're not rushing to a relationship. It's like, when I start dealing with this business stuff and being in transition, I'm like, oh, I got some stuff I need to work on, because if I'm this chaotic right now, I can only imagine when you add somebody to it. Sometimes we want what we think is picture perfect life.
Right.
But so many of us have so many things to heal and so many things to work on, and we're really not ready. And then we're thinking, oh, it's just not our time. It's really not our time yet, right? Until we do certain things. And I think once we start really taking care of ourselves and really doing that self-work, then we begin to see like, oh, okay. Because I remember you asked me 6 months ago, a year ago, I'm like, oh, I'm ready to get married today. You know what I mean? And then when I transitioned into a different place in my business and all that, I'm like, oh, I'm actually not ready. I
Right.
actually need to handle some things. I
Right.
actually need to work on my self-love, because if not, I'm going to expect somebody else to fill voids. I'm going to expect somebody else to make me feel good about myself, and they're not going to always feel like making me feel good about myself. So I need to know who I am.
Look,
So
this
they
is
get
perfect.
crazy.
This is perfect because you actually kind of are segmenting us into next week, because you making the direct correlation between what I need to do first, which is self-love, before I even get into
Absolutely.
romantic relationships and all that kind of stuff, because it is a juggle when you're married. We have to figure out, my husband has his own business, I have businesses, but we still have to figure out like where we fit in and be okay with if that's not his thing. We can't be all into everything together. I don't play golf, so I don't really want to know why. I tried everything. I'll sit there and watch golf, and I'm just like, I don't get it. I don't want to do this. And at first I was like, no, I mean, I want to try. And I even bought golf clubs. And when I brought them home, he was like, really? Because he felt like this was his thing. And I had to learn some of those things. Like, it's okay, but it's hard when you're trying to balance all of that stuff. So yeah, if you have an opportunity to get that taken care of before you start sharing, then there's no surprises. You already know what you bring into the table, and actually what you talked about in the beginning with boundaries and things like that, because we didn't talk a lot about that, but boundaries is a huge area with self-care, self-love, because what boundaries you set kind of tell people where you are on the scale of loving yourself.
Run all over you. And if you don't have expectations, you got to listen to what people tell you the first time. So, you get caught up and want to get a relationship or be married or something, or really even in, and then somebody be like, well, didn't I tell you this 6 months ago or a year? And it's like, we hear what we want to hear when we want what we want, which is why we have to do the work, because we expect something from somebody else that we don't give ourselves. You know what I mean? Whether you're married or single, you expect the person to love you a certain way that you really need to love yourself. Because when somebody get crazy, or if somebody don't feel like it that day, you
still got to be able to do it. Right.
You still got to be able to do it. 100. You come 100, I come 100. Will everything in life be perfect? No. But you have to be whole within yourself and really do some healing, fix your own attitude. A lot of us, sometimes we're loners. We don't feel like being bothered. I get like that sometimes. Like, I can go days and just not talk to nobody, right?
Right.
Right. To deal with that and know what that means for me and what my boundaries are, so that I can effectively communicate that to the person when it's time to step up from just self-love into having a partnership and a relationship with somebody else. And so
absolutely. Yeah, this is some real nuggets. I hope y'all taking notes, because I'm listening to everything you're saying. Now, before we come, we're going to take a commercial break and run a couple of commercials, and then we're going to come back and find out where we can get in touch with you. But I want to talk a little bit more about those boundaries and any other things that you have going on that we need to, connect with you. I've been watching some of your stuff on Facebook. I love your pictures. It's a style that you kind of do with your graphics and pictures and things. It's very different from other people. So I wanted to talk a little bit about that. But let's take a commercial. But I think we had a couple of commercials to play.
Okay.
Saving My Pockets was founded by Sharila Smith, where she tells you all the latest sales, all the greatest couponing tricks, hacks, and places to go find the half price items, buy 2 get 1 free, even flash sales. You don't want to miss it. Even the biggest discounts out here on the streets. So make sure you join the Facebook group Saving My Pocket.
Yes, welcome back. So you all please go out there and check out Saving My Pockets. Shariva has a wonderful business out there, and she's trying to help you keep your coins in your pocket, which we all need to do. So I need to learn some couponing myself. I'm always fascinated with people who know how to coupon because I have no idea how to do that. But when I watch some of her posts, I'm just like, how'd she do that? So I think she has some classes that are going to be coming up. She has done some classes, so definitely stay connected with that. And we also want to remind you all that you all can also have commercials and ad space with Lunchin with Lisa and also with Dove South Magazine too. So keep that in mind. But me and Caressa are going to continue to talk about. Now, I did see a comment from Henrietta said, so the message of self-care is caring for your mind, body, and spirit, physical, social, mental, spiritual, emotional, everything. It's absolutely for everything. And it seems like a lot, but it's like once you do that, it feels like you can conquer everything, whether it's, kids around the house or, a husband or the dog or whatever it is. And like Maria said, it's okay to say no. But I will say, saying no seems to be a hard one for a lot of people. I know I encountered that in the beginning because you want to help everybody. You want to be there. You want to support, and you feel guilty when you don't. And to me, that's part of self-care because then you start to break down. You start to get overwhelmed and you can't take care of your own stuff. So because you're busy trying to make sure you're there. So do you run into that with your clients, and what kind of advice do you give them on, how do you get through that?
Oh my goodness. Working with work, I think everyone is on a different path. So, a lot of my clients, they're on different levels in their business.
Mhm.
Whether they've been in it for 5, 10 years, 5 years, whether they're working full time and it's like a side hustle and stuff like that. I think just learning how to, again, just kind of sticking to boundaries in regards to how much you're willing to put in, even on a weekly basis. Who you want to serve. That's really important. Identifying who your ideal client is, and always working towards that, and just really, like I said, caring for yourself, beginning to end. Always figuring out what's important because I remember it came to a time where I might not do that much during the day, but 1, 2, 3 o'clock in the morning I'm working, and that really wasn't good for me.
Right.
And so just kind of putting stuff in perspective of what do you want it to look like.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah.
I love that. So, you said you do this, you're an entrepreneur now. Were you always an entrepreneur or did you transition into that?
I transitioned into entrepreneurship.
Okay.
It took me 5 years to transition to entrepreneurship. I tell people it's nothing shameful or dishonorable about even working your job or using your job to invest in your business.
Mm-hmm.
And then making a plan to leave. You have to say like, hey, I'm led to leave today. Okay, great. But don't just leave or don't just make decisions in the moment just because you just feel like you got 5 likes and you're doing all right today, right?
Right.
Have a plan. Now I did work hard, I did save, and then within like 6 months I blew it all. It was horrible, right? I just lost everything. And I prepared. And so I had to that's when the mustard seeds had to come in. So I'm like, what in the world am I going to do? But it was my first time and I didn't know how to really handle it. And I never really had large amounts of money at the time and things like that. Like I would make money on a consistent basis or everything I was doing in my career with like the grief and loss and personal development and all that good stuff. But still, I had somebody handing it to me.
Okay.
But then I had to market and manage it myself. I'm like, oh, this is a different story. So I tell people you need to have a plan. Sometimes your plans might not work. Sometimes you might mess up your plan, but at least try to have a plan and be wise. Don't just, and save if you can, like in the beginning, like, okay, if something don't happen in business, it should, at least I can survive 3 to 6 months or 3 months or something like that before leaving your job that I'm going to push this. So I'll be making money, but you have this emergency savings, for your business if anything happens. Clearly, I made mistakes. So I used my emergency savings during that time, but I still had a plan and it still worked out for me. And I was able to survive for months,
Right.
And so I tell everyone, use your business, like make it work for you. When you go into work and you have your 9 to 5 started, call it a side hustle, whatever. I feel like I've worked 2 full-time jobs for years. I had my business and I had, the regular job. Now, also, my business changed and adjusted, and I grew and I transformed and evolved many, 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 many times throughout that time.
Okay.
And so I know sometimes we feel like we have to know exactly who our ideal client is, or exactly sometimes action. Clarity comes with action. So sometimes until you get out there and you do it, you really just won't know. And you can pivot and adjust things every day. I adjust my services every single day, adjust my content every single day, adjust how I address somebody or work with someone every single day. Somebody who worked with me 3 months ago gets a different me today. Because I've learned what's working, what's not working, how people respond, what they like, what they don't like. But you don't know until you're in it.
That's true. That's true.
Mm-hmm. So
And I wanted to kind of go into your style, because I love your style. And it has changed since the last time that we met with you. It's changed. But what made you, because you kind of said a one-stop, shop kind of thing. So what made you add into, because I'm just kind of curious, and I love the idea of, from beginning to end, you spoil your clients on some level, because I love that concept. I really do. So what made you go in that direction? What did you see was a need in? Because I think that's cool.
Yeah. That goes into brand identity, who I am. I am since I was a little girl, very, what they say, bougetto. I like to be treated a certain way. And I'm like, if I treat people how I want to be treated, I used to always say for years, like, I want to ride in the back of a car. Like, I could ride with my friends. They don't allow me to, but I can ride in the back of the car. I think that's self-care. Me not having to process, having to drive and turn the wheel and put it in drive. Let me sit in the back and just relax. I'm like, oh, this feels so good. Like, this is luxury to me. That's actually one of my promises. Is actually my tagline, think luxury. And so I treat people how I want to be treated. And that's very important in brand identity, knowing your values in your business and how you want people to feel. Yes. What is your wow factor? My wow factor is I'm going to treat you how I want to be. I'm all about 5-star. I'm all about treat me a certain way, even in like relationships and friendships and things like that. Like if I'm cooking, if I'm serving you, whatever, you going to know, you know what I mean? Cause I'm going to
love it. That's major self-care right there. So you took self-care of you and you kind of put that on your clients. Like, okay, so this is kind of self-care I love. So I'm going to give, and I like that. So, cause I'm always trying to I do the most for, whether it's my clients or whatever, I want to go over and beyond. I want them to feel how I felt. So I'm resonating with what you say, because that's how I feel. It's like, I felt so good doing this. So I want them to feel like that too. And I saw some of the things you were doing. Like, I think there was one time I saw a picture and you were setting up some, I don't know if it was snacks
like
or
burgers and appetizers.
Yes. And I was like, oh my gosh, that's so nice.
Yeah, and it's funny because people would normally, like, they think of me as the pictures I put out is always like I'm probably being treated a certain way, and they don't realize that that's even one of my love language. I love to give, I love to serve, I love to support. It's always been in me, even just in a business aspect, a church aspect. Like, I love that, and so it's like I can balance both, because I'm actually like a legging, Nike t-shirt, messy bun type of girl. So I can be like that all day, every day. Right. Right. I love to be comfortable. But then when it's time to step out, baby, I'm gonna get people what they want. Okay.
I know that's right. I know that's right.
So, I tell people, live luxury, think luxury, give the people what they want, break the net. If it can do any of those things, if you're gonna shut down the net, or if it feels luxury,
love it.
Or get the people what they want in your outfits and how you feeling. When you telling somebody something, give the people what they want. You know what the people on social media waiting for. Give it to them.
No, that's right. And when I watch your post or see you post something, I'm like, it speaks exactly to that hashtag. I love everything. It's the coloring. It's the way you post your pictures. It's sometimes and everybody won't pay attention or get it. I get it, but I'm watching, because my mind thinks like that. So I'm watching the distance between you and the camera. I'm watching the action, or I pay attention to all of that because I love that. So I'm always trying to be creative, and I do think that, because what you're trying to do is speak to them without always saying something to them. You're letting them know. So they're going to, and to me, when you give that self-care to them or you make them feel good, it automatically returns to you most of the time.
Mm-hmm.
You get it back because people like to feel good, and then they like, oh my gosh, and then they just
tell somebody.
oh,
And absolutely. And then, hey, here come a new referral. Right.
Look, I'm laughing because Algiers Diamond, I just kind of locked into one of her comments, and she was like, hey, I like the shade room.
Listen,
Hilarious.
I'm caught up in all this stuff. Like, you just know yourself, right? You just know yourself. I hear people sometimes say, like, you don't follow so. I be like, listen, I will be all up in it all day, every day. So I know what I have to do. And I'm one of the people that will late night be on social media cracking up, rubbing my feet together, just laughing at the memes and stuff like that. You know, I can be very, very subtle and very like come off as quiet and stuff. And then you see me in the other, but I'm just a mess. I'm a trip. So
because we had those moments. I get it. Some moments when you feel a shade room, and then there's other moments. I will tell you, one of our favorite shows to watch is Ridiculousness, because it just I just love to laugh, and some of the stuff is just ridiculous, but I need those moments where that's all I'm focused on. That's all I'm doing. I'm not thinking about no work. I'm not thinking about no drama. I'm just laughing. So I love that. So Caressa, what I wanted you to do is tell people like how they can get in touch with you for your business, any events or things you have coming up, but let them know where they can find you.
Yes, so absolutely. Anybody have any questions they want to launch and they thinking they want a website, logo, brand identity, they need brand strategy or business coaching, email me at info@caressaj.com. I'm on all social media at Caressa Jennings, Caressa Jennings. On all social media, that's Instagram and Facebook. And then coming up, oh my gosh, I have something called the Luxury Brand School that's launching very soon.
Okay. And what's that about?
Yep, that's brand strategy and business coaching. So a lot of times we see people just have a website or have photos. And I tell people you need strategy with your marketing. You don't want to just put a website out if you're not going to make no money from it. So all my clients know, it's some of them now is waiting on a website until we figure out what their signature program or offer is. We can't launch their website because you got to make money from it. It's bigger than your photos. You know, I post a lot of nice photos because I want to get somebody's attention and let them know this is what I can help you do as well. But there has to be clearly that's a strategy. And so you want to have strategy behind all the beauty. And you want to make sure that you figure out who are you here to serve, who are you called to, and make sure that you're fulfilling purpose through your brand. So that's Luxury Brand School. I'm super excited about it.
Wow, that sounds nice.
Yeah, I'm super excited about that. I'm definitely going to be sharing so much more to come. So yeah, follow me on all social media, Caressa Jennings. I look forward to meeting and speaking with people. And
this has been wonderful, Caressa. I'm glad that you were able to come on, and I'm hoping that we'll be able to bring you back on here. Because we can't really talk, you know, we all run around doing things we do. Imagine that, because we still, you know, kind of stuck in the house, but at the same time, things got busier for some reason, but in a good way. But with that, and I'm gonna tie that into self-care, what I noticed that I had more time to do things now that I was home, and I could, because I have a full-time job. And everything's going wonderfully, but I noticed that I didn't move from the work. So I stayed in the work. I didn't take those breaks to just remove myself. And I think what happened, because I tried to do the bed thing too, sit in the bed and work. And what it did was create more stress for me. I didn't realize, but on my back, on my neck, I had headaches and things. So actually my doctor told me to get out that bed and go sit at a desk. And it made a world of difference. But in addition to that, I really had to teach myself how to step away from the computer instead of switching from full-time laptop to, you know, other businesses' laptop. I really wasn't even breaking. But I'm working on that because it's easy to fall into that trap when things are going so well. So you're just like, okay, I got to do this, got to do that. So this talking to you really helped me with kind of understanding how that's, and Shariva has gotten on me too, and I've gotten on her. So I will shout out that we actually started a page called Unplug and Chill. And it was for that very moment. We were in the middle of juggling all of the businesses and full-time jobs. And we were like, you know, look, we're not sleeping at night. We tired, whatever. And literally on a lunch break on the other job, we were like, let's start a page. And The Unplug, I was like, we creating work for ourselves, but it wasn't. It was funny when we opened up that page, Unplug and Chill, which you can find on Facebook. It was a room. We created that page for people to go to. If you're having a hard day or you just can't seem to get things out of your head, just shift over. And over there in that page, we're just talking about things that make you laugh, make you feel good. So, and it really did shift and change my mindset almost immediately. So we got to do that. We got to stay balanced. You need a little fun in work life. You need a little, work and fun life. You just need to juggle that stuff. So I want to remind everybody that you all can catch Luncheon with Lisa every Thursday, 7 to 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Facebook and YouTube. We also are showing Luncheon with Lisa on Fridays. I want to make sure I mention we have teamed up with another broadcasting network called GMAP Broadcasting Network, and the show Luncheon with Lisa will air on that broadcast network on Fridays at the same time, 7 o'clock. So if you missed today or you want to go back and check out what you missed, you can tune back in tomorrow on their network, which I'm excited about. And also I think we add some of the Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify. They will be up on those podcasts as well. So we don't want you to miss Luncheon with Lisa, because we have great guests like Caressa come on and they share wonderful tips that can help you through life and that self-care. So I thank you all for joining in and commenting. I've seen all the comments and stuff, and I'm loving it. Algiers always makes us laugh. So I enjoy her when she comes in and reminds us about the shade room moments. Yes, we do have to have those sometimes. Just for a minute, though. We ain't going to stay there. But no, thank you all for tuning in. I appreciate you. You can also find Luncheon with Lisa's show on my magazine, Dove Style Magazine. We actually house the interviews on that site as well. So stay connected, stay tuned. We have more to come in Love Month. So Caressa actually touched on it, which thank you so much, but we touched on a little bit of romantic love. So I'm trying to confirm, maybe have someone who can play some love music and things, and we can share some ideas on what to do. I know people say Valentine's Day is, you should be showing love every day. And I get that. I absolutely agree. But what I choose to believe, made up or not, is that we get an extra day or an extra month to show a little bit of extra love. So yes, we should show love every day, but what's wrong with a little extra? So, I always try to come up with creative ways, whether it's the kids or the husband or whatever, to just show somebody a little love, especially this year. Because there's a lot of loss. There's a lot of things. Caressa can probably speak to that as well, on how to get through losing so many people. And we still got to get through some stuff. So you all stay connected, touch base with us, reach out to Caressa because she's awesome. And hopefully we'll have her back, and we will see you next week. So thank you so much. Thank you, Caressa.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me.
Have a good one, everybody.